Hello everyone and welcome to round 2 of this year's Champions Chester Finals. It is Fabiano Caruana versus Alireza Firouzja. This is the first game of their match, and going into round 2, both of them come off with a victory. Fabiano defeated Maxim Vashilagrov in round 1. He won the first game, then he lost the second one, and he defeated him in the tiebreaks, whereas Alireza was able to take down Nodirbek Abdusatorov in rapid without going into Armageddon. But this one, I'm sure you guys would agree, is the absolute best game played yesterday. So we're gonna focus on this one. Let's check it out. Fabi has the white pieces and he opens with e4. I included the clock times for this one as it is relevant. So 15 minutes per player. Let's check it out. We have pawn to e5, knight f3, knight to c6, and bishop to c4. The Italian game is on the board. Bishop to c5, the Giuoco Piano. Sorry, I immediately think that black always plays this. Knight to f6, the two knights defense, and now pawn to d3. We have bishop to c5, and now we have castles transposing into the Giuoco Piano. We have pawn to d6 and c3. Castles, and now pawn to h3. So there are many games in the database. This is the top main line played by both of them. a6, we have a4, stopping b5. Bishop to a7, so you don't have any tempi on the bishop later on. And rook to e1. We have pawn to h6, both players just playing useful moves. It's in pretty much every Giuoco Piano you will have the h-pawns and the a-pawns pushed up the board. Knight b to d2, going for the standard maneuver of the knight, maybe then to f5 or h5. Rook to e8, and now pawn to b4. Grabbing more space on the queen side, we have bishop to e6, and now you trade. Bishop captures, rook captures, and bishop to b2. So again, many games in the database. We have knight to h5, preparing to put the knight on f4, and the bishop here is an absolute beast. We have knight to f1, and now there is a game where rook to g6 was played right away, but here we have knight to e7, and it is now as of move 14 that we have a completely new game. So let's see how Fabi deals with this idea. Of course, the knight is coming to g6, and then all depending on what he plays to f4 or h4, probably f4. We have pawn to c4. He grabs more space in the center, gains full control over the d5 square, is ready to continue advancing on the queen side, but he does weaken the d4 square a little bit, which means it will be harder to execute d4, and this bishop becomes perhaps an even stronger piece. We have knight to g6, and now pawn to g3, not allowing the knight to land on f4 or h4, but Alireza doesn't care. He just plays knight g to f4, and he offers a piece here. Now, if this was handled by someone who is afraid to calculate, maybe something like king to h2 was played, but Fabi is well known for his execution of engine moves, so he just captures the knight, says, all right, come at me. G captures on f4, and now rook to g6 check, king to h2, and knight captures on f4. So, okay, he's down a piece, but he does have a very unpleasant pressure here. Rook to g2 will be a very nasty threat. Of course, if the queen comes to d7, then the h3 pawn might be in trouble, but Fabi is confident that he will be able to defend this. He plays knight to e3, this stops rook to g2, and after queen to d7, how do you defend this? How do you defend queen captures on h3? Well, interestingly, best way to do it is knight to f5. Fabi did not go for this because it involves giving up the f2 pawn, but you should give it up, and after rook f1 and bishop to g3 check, you don't take, of course, and allow queen captures on h3, you just move the king back. And now if knight captures on h3, you're just going to play queen to c2. And okay, you're up a piece. You're going to put the rook on g1 and defend well. However, after queen to d7, Fabi decided to defend with knight to g1. This does defend the h3 pawn, but what's the only thing stopping Alireza from capturing on h3? It's, of course, the knight on g1, so he just captures it. Rook captures on g1. King captures. If you capture with the rook, of course, it's just checkmate, so you have to capture with the king. And now queen captures on h3. So the knight is still guarding against checkmate, so you have to prevent bishop captures on e3 at all costs. So here we have pawn to c5, and now if you're not careful, you will lose the game here, but if you're careful, you will win the game here. So there is only one winning move for Alireza here, and all the other moves are winning for Fabi. So what do you play here? Feel free to pause the video and figure out how to go about this position while I give you a couple of seconds. So, for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on realizing white's only move in this position, that is queen to g4, and congratulations if you figure out a way how to stop that, and that is pawn to h5. And that is why, in the previous position where Fabi played pawn to c5, queen to g4 was the way to go. It still gives Alireza a beautiful position, but maybe, just maybe, it will be possible to defend. Point is that after bishop captures on e3, you will capture on h3, okay, knight captures, but it happens with check, and after the king moves, king to g2, knight to f4 check, king f3, and now you can even play bishop captures on f2. And after king captures, knight captures here with a fork. King f3, you're going to capture the rook here, and okay, Fabi will be up a bishop, but Alireza will have 3 extra pawns, and it will be Alireza who will be pushing for the win here. Probably Fabi can defend with the extra piece. However, after c5, such a thing is no longer possible. h5, now there's no queen to g4, and you don't really have a move here. Now the rook is coming into the game, and also the pawn is continuing its march down the board. So rook e2, Fabi will try to trade off queens, but now rook to e8. We have queen to f1. Now knight captures on e2 with check. Queen captures and rook to e6, preparing this nasty rook to g6 check. So knight to g2, we have rook to g6, and now queen to f1. The only way to defend against checkmate, but now h4, preparing to move the queen and continue advancing this pawn down the board. We have rook to c1, but it doesn't do all that much. Alireza even continues playing positional chess here with pawn to a5. You can see the situation on the clock: 27 seconds for Fabi, 28 seconds for Alireza. So it's not easy, but they of course will fight. We have bishop c3, and now just queen to g4, preparing pawn to h3. So Fabi unpins king to h2, but still pawn to h3. We have knight to e3, and now queen to f4 with check, king to h1, and now queen to f3 check. They repeat once because you also have to, win a few seconds on the clock before you deliver the final execution. Now d captures on c5. We have b captures on c5 and queen to f3 check, king h2, and now bishop captures on c5. And now, of course, it all comes back to this knight on e3. Bishop captures will eliminate the defender, and rook g2 will decide the game. So Fabi played queen to h1, hoping to get a queen trade in, but Alireza just played queen captures on f2 check, and it was in this position on move 37 that Fabiano Caruana resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. You either give up the queen, or you capture on h3, then queen to g3 is checkmate, or you block with the knight, also doesn't help you. Queen to g3 will still be checkmate. So yeah, Fabi resigned, queen captures on f2 was played, and Alireza wins a very nice first game. However, Fabi retaliated in the second game with the black pieces. They went into Armageddon, and the Armageddon game ended in a draw. It was also a very tricky one. Fabi was winning pretty much throughout the entire game, but in the end, Alireza was able to save the draw. However, a draw, as Fabi had the black pieces, means that he wins the Armageddon. So Fabi wins both of his matches against MBL and against Alireza in Armageddon. So yeah, very nice game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any others from this event, always use #suggestion, because that's how I filter out your suggestions. I would like to thank David Gasparian, Rick Schaefer, Albert Villardel, Nathan, I Love You Dad, and Miloš Knežević for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.